and welcome to another episode of Coptic Ambassadors. Our ambassador today is a leader and a true innovator in the field of structural engineering. Dr. Nabil Grace is the Dean of the College of Engineering, the Vice President for Research, and the Director of the Nabil Grace Center for Innovative Research Materials at Lawrence Technological University. His research focuses on the development of specialized composite materials for use in infrastructure and in transportation programs. Dr. Grace has been awarded 4 United States patents for advanced composite materials and innovative bridge design, and his research has received significant funding by several government agencies, including the National Science Foundation, the Federal Highway Administration, and numerous state departments of transportation. But most importantly, our ambassador today is a wonderful husband, father, grandfather, and a dear friend to so many in the Coptic community. Dr. Grace, it's an honor to have you on Coptic Ambassadors.
Thank you, and thanks for coming. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Well, thank you. So I'd like to start today by asking you a little bit about your upbringing, and if you could tell us a little bit about that and what led you to the position that you're in today.
That's a good question. As you know, Egyptian family, especially Coptic, we grew up in the church. And my father, my mother, they adore our church. So we were 3 boys and a girl. And that means Saturday night you'll be in the church, Sunday you'll be in the church, and you have to grow up within the church. So you learn the virtue. You need to learn a lot of things about what the church is teaching you. So when I was growing up, church was number 1 in our life as a family members.
Could you tell us a little bit about what your faith has meant to you over the years and today in your life?
Well, as you know very well, in our church, they teach us few things. And one thing that we learn in our church, number 1, humility. So humility has to be the top of your items. And also you have to work on love and grace. So if you can blend this and the teaching of our Lord, I think you will come way ahead of everybody else. So that's what I can say. We grew up within that church and with that love of the family members.
Now, growing up back home, I understand you went to school in Egypt to start, right?
Correct.
And tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I was born in a city called Port Said, and this is right at the tip of Suez Canal and Mediterranean Sea. And when you finish the high school, you would like to go to a university. That means number 1 would be Cairo University. So I went to Cairo, and the beauty about Cairo University is very close to the Nile. So from time to time, between the Nile and Cairo University is about maybe 20 minutes walking, and they didn't have cars, so I have to walk. So we usually walk to the Nile and look at all these bridges. And when I was young, I always say there is a better way building our infrastructure. I'm talking about Egyptian infrastructure.
Right.
And that led me always think that when I finish my undergraduate, I'm going to come to the United States and start thinking about how we can come up with better structures, better materials for much better infrastructure.
Now, after your undergraduate studies in Egypt, where did you continue your education and to get to the place that you're in today?
When we were young, math and physics were number 1 on my list. So I always looked at this as, in the future, I'd like to be an engineer, especially structural engineer. I developed this when I was actually in high school. And Cairo University in engineering, the first year you study everything from electricity, mechanical, and then you decide to go for civil engineering or structural engineering. So after we finished the undergrad, we had a great professor, his name is Dr. Bachoum. And he called me in his office and he said, you should go for your master and your PhD. And he highly recommended that I should come to work for a professor named Dr. Kennedy, which I did. I came to Canada, I studied my master and my PhD, and after that I was offered a position in a consulting firm for about 4 years, and then after that I came to the university as an assistant professor.
And after working through the university studies, you graduated with an engineering degree and a PhD, is that right?
That's correct.
And that's in the field of civil engineering?
That's in the field of structural engineering.
Structural engineering, okay.
Yeah.
And your work today is in the field of structural engineering almost exclusively, right?
That's true.
Can you give us a bit of an idea of what that work entails and what you do on a day-to-day basis?
Sure, absolutely. Structural engineering, that means you deal with basically high-rise buildings, structure, and I always look for something challenging, not the traditional engineering. That does not attract me. Something that's highly complicated, that you would like to solve, problems in the field that you would like to solve. And that kind of a challenge will create your character as an engineer. So you are always looking for new ideas, new materials, new design, and how you can deploy this in the field.
And so what is your primary focus when you're looking at a structural engineering problem?
When I'm looking at structure, especially, for example, in infrastructure, durability and light material and the strength. Those are the three things that I always look at when I became an engineer. What is the most durable material that can be used? Because in North America, you can see a lot of structure experiencing quite a bit of deterioration. So what kind of material that can sustain this harsh environment? And number two, can we develop structure that does not require significant maintenance and continuous maintenance, so we can save the taxpayers' money? And number three, the appearance of the structure and how attractive the structure is. And if you can leave something for the taxpayers and for the people around you and the society, that they can be so proud of seeing the structure growing and actually not experiencing any maintenance continuously.
So as you mentioned, in the United States and North America and even around the world, we see so many examples of infrastructure, bridges, highways, deteriorating at a fast pace in many circumstances. One of your areas of research focuses on the innovative use of what's called carbon fiber reinforced polymer in pre-stressed concrete. Can you please explain to us a little bit about how this system works and how it might be beneficial or superior to some of the more traditional systems that have been used in the past?
Wonderful question, Matthew. Carbon fiber is a very, very thin material, it's like your hair, but it's much, much stronger than steel.
Oh.
So if we can take that hair or that fibers and blend it in a special resin, and then we can deform it in any shape you want. So we can create what they call it pre-stressing strands that can be implemented and deployed in beams, slabs, structures. Cable stay bridges, for example. The cable stay in the Ambassador Bridge. And if you can develop this and show the strength, that would be the winner. So I remember the first proposal I wrote to the National Science Foundation, I presented the idea. And they said, that will never happen in the United States. We only understand steel and concrete, no more, no less.
Okay.
So after several discussions, they gave me funding, significant funding, and they said, we'll try that. And after a couple of years, another funding. And then at that time, I presented the idea to deploy my research work in the first highway bridge in United States history that has no steel, all carbon fiber. And the federal government gave me about $3 million to try this. And we did that actually here in Southfield, Michigan. We built a 3-span bridge. And it's funny enough, they told me, if we let you build this and walk away, you'll learn nothing. I said, that's true. They said, we'll let you build 2 bridges side by side, actually. And you can compare both of them and see the durability if your theory would work compared to the conventional one.
All right.
So they gave me funding to build both of them. And not only that, they said, we'll give you enough funding to put sensors. So with a satellite system, you can compare the 2 structures side by side. They did that. And since 2001, we've been comparing these 2 structures. It was the first highway bridge in our history that has no steel, all carbon fiber.
So your carbon fiber reinforced polymer innovation is now in several bridges, and it takes the place of steel that was previously the main component that would help structurally reinforce these structures.
That's true. We built so far about 12 bridges here in Michigan, total about 30 bridges in the United States. And actually carbon fiber, you can find it everywhere around you. For example, 7 24/7. Almost 95% of the structure of the plane is made of carbon fiber. If you look at any other structure, even when you look and buy fishing rods, it's carbon fiber.
Ah,
If you go and see the hockey stick, it's carbon fiber because it's a lighter weight, stronger, and durable. So when you combine these three together in one structure, you are the winner.
so that becomes a perfect application for something that faces high forces and that needs to withstand the test of time, like the infrastructure that governments and countries and states spend millions and millions of dollars to build and maintain.
Absolutely, and also, as I said earlier, the durability and the maintenance will go very, very well.
So we talked a little bit about how you've been using this technology and how it's been implemented so far, but can you give us an idea of some of the maybe future ways that this new material technology might be implemented or used?
I like your question because I have a dear friend of mine, his name is Dr. Magdi Yaoub. He's very famous and he's a surgeon, heart surgeon.
Right.
And Magda and I talks a lot about new materials and innovation. I made a presentation in Cairo and he was attending the presentation. And then he followed me out and he said, Nabil, I need to talk to you about carbon fiber. I said, sure. He said, can I come over to your facility and take a look at what you guys doing with carbon fiber?
Really?
I invited him to come over. He flew from London, England. He came here and he spent a couple days. And he said, you know what? I'd like to use carbon fiber, but for heart valve.
Oh, wow.
I said, hey, this material only used for infrastructure.
Yeah.
I never heard that's going to go on human body. And he said, yes. Can you give me some sample of this material? I said, sure. Anyway, to make the story short, we exchanged ideas. We shipped some fibers to him at Imperial College in London, England, which is #1 university in England. And we actually worked together on a research project, and we developed the first article, and actually it was published in Frontiers, and it deals with carbon fiber for heart valves. The amazing Magdi Yaoub is working with material that's made for infrastructure to put it in the heart. That tells you how pioneering this material could be.
That's incredible. That's incredible. And that could save many lives and prolong many lives too, it sounds like.
And I asked Magdi one day, why carbon fiber? He said, because carbon fiber has infinite number of cycles that will never fail or fatigue. And your heart is doing this day and night for the entire lifespan of the human. So that's billions number of cycles. And he said fibers would be the best way to do that.
Incredible.
It is incredible.
Dr. Grace, you're the founding director of the Nabil Grace Center for Innovative Materials Research here at Lawrence Technological University. And when I came in, I drove up, parked, I got to see the facility. You gave us a tour briefly of the facility, and I have to say it's extremely impressive. There are a tremendous amount of research needs out there, and it sounds like this center is able to accommodate those and find new and innovative ways to help solve some of the world's problems in this area. And I'm just wondering, in your mind, what is the mission of this center and what role is it playing in the field of structural engineering?
That's a good question. A few years ago, I wrote a proposal and I got significant funding from the federal government to build a center. And that center has all kinds of toys a researcher would like to have. One of the toys is a fire loading chamber, which simulate what happened in 9/11. So can we develop a structural material that can sustain fire? Can we develop a structural material that can sustain the impact force? And that's a huge room that you have seen, and nobody else has this anywhere in the country.
Really?
Yes. And then we develop another room which called environmental loading chamber. And what we do in this room, we simulate the weather, whether it is Siberia weather or South America weather, and we expose new materials, new structure to kind of loading and freezing and thawing. And then we have also another area that you have seen that we test actually long span bridges and test them all the way down to the floor. So graduate students working for me under their PhDs, each one has its own zone, and each one is assigned a work that's funded either by state or federal government, and take that project from A to Z.
And it really was extraordinary being in there, and I can just picture in my mind, you going through with the students and trying to learn and test and research all these materials to, have all these new applications, and it seems like an exciting time for this field.
Well, you learn a lot from young people around you, and I personally learn a lot, especially when you have a young student who's doing his PhD or master degree or even undergraduate, and will tell you, what, Dr. Grace, I think I have a better idea. Then that attracts my attention. So I shut up immediately and I say, please tell me what's your idea. And 99.9 he's right. And that's what I'd like to be closer to the younger people, because actually it's a two-way street. I teach them what needs to be done, but backward they tell me about new ideas.
And the teachings go both ways.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. So, Dr. Grace, you've had the privilege of working and connecting with people all over the world in many different, areas, cultures, societies, and walks of life. Can you share with us some of the more impactful interactions that you've had over the years?
Sure. I serve on the Presidential Council, Egyptian Presidential Council, and that's for scientists. So we fly over there and we meet with our president, our colleagues, and we have people really in different fields, but they are at the top of their career. For example, I mentioned Dr. Magdi Yaoub, Dr. Hani from Germany, who designed the biggest train station in Germany, Hani Azer. We have many other Egyptians that you really, when you sit among them, you feel that you are so small because they are giant in their fields. And we are sitting around our president. We feel so proud that everyone coming from either Germany or England or United States or Canada. For example, we have Dr. Farouk El-Baz. He's a scientist that he was part of the mission that went to the moon, the first one. So when you look at all these Egyptian great people, you learn from them, you listen to them, and then around the president we meet and we talk about different issue that's facing our country and how can be resolved. So we participate in this kind of discussion, and certainly it's impacting everyone around the table, and everyone bring the best out of him to help the country.
Oh, that's awesome. Today was my first time walking through the halls of Lawrence Tech, and I understand that Pope Shenouda has also walked through some of these halls at some point. Can you tell us a little bit about that and that experience?
Thank you for bringing this up. A few years ago, I presented to our trustees meaning the board of trustees for the university. I presented the idea of inviting Pope Shenouda and giving him the honorary doctor. And I said, to my mind, he is number one in the world that deserves this kind of award. So actually the president of the university and myself and his wife, we flew to Cairo.
Oh, wow.
Yes, we called Labra Yohannes. He was Pope Shenouda assistant. And we said we'd like to come over and meet with His Holiness and would like to invite him to come to the United States. And he said, what for? They said the university would like to give him the honorary doctor for all the work that he did, not only for the Coptic Church, not only for Egypt, but for the entire world. And he said, let me talk to him. So anyway, we got the green light. We flew to Cairo, and we were given a certain time. We went at 6 o'clock in the afternoon, and he was waiting for us. He opened his arm, he opened his doors, welcomed all of us, and it turned out to be that this is number 5 for him as a doctor, honorary doctor.
Oh, wow.
So he was joking with us, and he flew back to the United States here, and we had a big celebration. Many people were around in the field house, and he gave a very amazing speech. And he talked about how people living together in Egypt with different background. So it was a history time, like history point, and we really had a great blessing. In fact, I told the people in Michigan here at the university, it's a blessing for us, I meant the university, for him to come all the way from Cairo and be with us and get that kind of degree. Actually, it's honoring us rather than honoring him.
That's wonderful. What a great experience.
It is, and it was a day that I will never forget. And he was kind enough to come and visit me in my house, and we invited our friends, and he gave a very nice speech at the church that night. So it was a very memorable day.
That's fantastic. Like many who've experienced the blessings of being able to achieve the highest levels in their field, I imagine, Dr. Grace, that you've also experienced your fair share of difficulties and obstacles along the way. Can you give us, some idea of that, or offer some advice to our youth who are just starting their careers and who will undoubtedly encounter a range of obstacles and issues along their path?
Well, the first item I would say, be persistent. Don't give up. You are coming from the best part of the world, which I believe Egypt is one of them. That's me as Egyptian American. So don't give up, and help people around you as much as you can. And if you fall down, stand up again, try again, but don't give up. Be persistent, and try to achieve the highest education that you can get. Education is number one for you. Nobody will take away your degree. And help people. And most importantly, if you can help your church to grow, do it. Because this is from one generation to the next generation. That's the only thing I can say.
And after accomplishing so many things in your life, what continues to motivate you today?
Helping the society. Because all of us will go one day. And then you will leave something that people remember you with. Helping your church and helping society is what really makes me moving forward. And look for what is the next step that you can achieve with whatever gift and God gave you.
Dr. Grace, at a recent event where you were being honored for your accomplishments, I saw and heard that you gave credit to your wife, your children, and your colleagues. What has been the value of family and the familial relationship to you?
Thank you, Matthew. This is a very nice question. Actually, it's the most important question. Family comes first. And Nadreen, she saw me working so many hours, and she was very supportive. Traveling many places by myself, coming late in the evening, that was very important, this kind of support that she provided. Without that support, whatever I have done, it would be impossible. The children, obviously, were very supportive. I have Mina and Sherry, and Mina's like he is an attorney, and he's also an engineer. And Sherry, both of them, they saw how hard work, but they were very supportive. They would come and give you a hug and kiss, and that's for me was the best reward by the end of the day.
Doctor, that sounds like a wonderful place to leave it, and we really appreciate your leadership, and it's just been an honor talking to you today. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Nabil Grace, Dean of the College of Engineering and the Director of the Nabil Grace Center for Innovative Materials Research at Lawrence Technological University. We hope you've enjoyed this episode of Coptic Ambassadors, and we look forward to welcoming you again soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Matthew.